It's November, and you know what that means, Big East Hoops fans. No, I'm not talking about Christmas music, Black Friday shopping. I'm talking about college basketball being just 8 days away. Here we go. Welcome to Big East Shootaround. John Fanta with you from New York. I'll tell you what, I can't believe it. We're just over a week away from college basketball starting, and we've got plenty to get to today. Xavier head coach Chris Mack, Seton Hall head coach Kevin Willard, ESPN's Jeff Borzello. We need your comments and questions as well. We're on Fox Sports Go, the Big East Facebook page, Big East on Twitter. What is your preseason storyline? Your top storyline in the Big East heading into this season? Let me know. Best ones we'll answer on the show. We just said Christmas music. It's too early for that. We do start in song, though. The Butler Bulldogs opening up the LaVall Jordan era at Hinkle this past weekend, hosting Hanover. And they had a lot of fun during, but even more importantly, after the game, a tradition renewed with the Butler great now as the head coach.
It's on you. 1, 2, 3.
Man, oh man. I mean, I was at Hinkle last week, and between Butler Blue, more than 72 hours away from tip-off, running back and forth, we got that coming up. And Coach Jordan, I mean, he's just loving it. And the Butler Bulldogs, they now have their leader in LaVall Jordan, the Butler way, rolling on. We turn to a big week in Halloween happening earlier this week. And of course, Big East coaches and players took part in the holiday with, is that Matt Helt? That's right. He's in the remake of Saw coming out next summer. Gotta love Matt Helt. He does more than just serve up ice cream. And on top of that, oh boy, out at Georgetown, trying to be scary, but no, he doesn't have the Providence Fryer effect. LaVall Jordan as a hot dog, and it's not a sandwich. And then the power rankings here. Coach Chris Mack, his son Braden, ranking the candy. Here's my biggest takeaway from that. Whoever gave Braden the super pack of M&Ms there, that came in at number 3. That's almost better in terms of size. I mean, at number 3 there, the family size M&M pack for Braden, that was big time. But Reese's Peanut Butter Cups did not make the power rankings. And I think that's just because either Braden ate them or Coach Mack ate them. But wow, they didn't get into the power rankings. And then on top of that, Smarties was in the middle of the road. And it kind of trailed off. I was talking to people around our office today. Halloween candy. Will we see companies revolutionize it a little bit? Try to update the flavors. Not saying that they're bad, but that's enough trick-or-treating for me. Exhibitions have happened in the last week, and we've got plenty of things to get to with those. A couple of games to look back at. How about Butler? They were able to force 17 turnovers. They turned it into nearly 30 points in their exhibition win. And then Phil Booth, so good to see him back. Omari Spellman with a near double-double in Villanova's preseason victory. And then for the Johnnies, Shamari Pons led them in points. Justin Simon with 7 assists and no turnovers. That's impressive. We had Simon as well as Marvin Clark and Shamari Pons, Marcus Levet. We've had them on the show the past couple of weeks, and I'll tell you what, there's a lot of excitement around the Johnnies. You're going to want to see Jeff Borzello's interview with me later on in this show because he talked up St. John's a ton. But first, we turn to the Xavier Musketeers. And Coach Chris Mack has built something really special with Xavier. Now, he's got a veteran core back and welcomes in a recruiting class that has been ranked as one of the best in the Big East. Here's Coach on what his Xavier Musketeers are looking like, as well as the rest of the league. He's taken the Xavier Musketeers to 3 Sweet 16s and throwing the Elite 8 from last year in just 8 years at the helm with Xavier. It's Coach Chris Mack. Coach, how has this team, an Elite 8 won a year ago, gotten even better for this season?
Well, I'd like to think we were deeper than we were a year ago, especially down the stretch when we lost so many guys due to injury. We have a nice group of freshmen that are still going to get indoctrinated into college basketball. The ball moves a lot faster. The guys are a lot stronger. But they're doing a really good job. And, anytime you can bring back the leadership of a Trayvon Blewett, J.P. McCure, along with Sean O'Mara, gives you great confidence as a coach that we can correct mistakes and we can keep moving in the right direction.
The league storyline this year is the depth of the conference. Villanova still at the top. What do you make of that thought of continuing to pursue them, and how do you get over the top?
Well, they do a terrific job year in, year out. Jay has an unbelievable culture. His kids buy in. They play hard. They play smart. They play disciplined. They're one of the best teams in the country. And this is one of the best leagues in the country. So if we want to compete at that level, we have to do it consistently. Very often it's not necessarily the talent that defines the teams, but their work ethic, their togetherness. And I go back to us having some guys that have been in the positions and the roles that they've been in the last few years. And so when you have leadership like that, you feel a lot better as a coach.
I hear you guys when you break down after practice today, it's warriors. That's the term you use. Why?
Well, I let the seniors sort of take ownership of our team early in the preseason when we had a team meeting and we outlined expectations and goals. And, it has to be their team if they're going to do the type of things they want to. And so they sort of came up with the theme of warriors. And, warriors are sort of a class system a long time ago. And their class system was based on a few core values. Being disciplined, being together. And so I thought it was very apropos that we took on that theme, but that was from the seniors.
I just got a history lesson from you. Were you a good history student?
Not really, but Wikipedia is a son of a gun nowadays.
Let's turn to your front court briefly, and we know what you welcome back in Sean O'Mara and then Tyreek Jones. But Karam Cantor gives you really a nice wrinkle to have in stretching the floor. How can that cause matchup issues?
Well, you said it. He's different than both Sean and Tyreek. He has the ability to really put the ball down the floor. He has that Euro craftiness of being able to make plays that usually post guys have a tough time doing. I wouldn't necessarily call Karam a post player. He's got good size, but we can play him alongside of either Tyreek or Sean, or we can play him at the 5. And I think when that happens, especially offensively, he's tough to handle because he can pass, he can shoot, and he can dribble. And so we're really excited about having Karam in the program.
The Big 3 League over the summer had a 4-point shot. Would you be supportive of that for your star J.P. McCure, along with Blewett?
For a couple of those guys, they shoot that distance regardless of how many points it's worth. But, I want them to have a lot of confidence. I want them to take, shots that they believe they can make. And as long as they have the team centered, first and foremost in their mind, then you feel good as a coach.
Good luck this year.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Great to be with Coach Mack in Cincinnati. He's got a deep team. The Musketeers, I was impressed by their freshmen as well. Watch out for the name Najee Marshall. Well, we asked you for your preseason storylines. That's what we're asking for, Big East Hoops fans. We're on Big East Facebook and at Big East on Twitter. What is your storyline? And we've got one here. Who beyond Villanova? Who could be that team to end their reign? Well, we just talked to one candidate in the Xavier Musketeers because you go to the Elite Eight a year ago and you return virtually everybody. You're not the preseason favorite in your conference. How many times can you say that in college basketball? So they are definitely a candidate. Seton Hall, you want to talk about getting old? They've done it. And the game-changing return of Angel Delgado down low for the Pirates is just massive for the Hall. You have to contain them on the glass. And now with the freshmen they bring in, watch out for the name, Sandro Mamukelashvili. There, I got it right. It might be a mid-season for him already. He can really stroke it. Watch out for him as a stretch 4. And how about the Providence Friars? I was with that Cooley's team yesterday. Kyron Cartwright still running the show, but now not all the pressure's on him to get it done in the backcourt. We know the Friars can defend as best as they come, but now welcome in Mekhi Ashton Langford, another freshman. That complements Cartwright, and Providence had a negative rebounding margin last year, made the NCAA tournament. This year that's going to change. They bring in big-time length. DeJour Dickens, Hoop DeJour as Stu Jackson says, and Nate Watson, remember the names. Well, we talked to one contending coach in Chris Mack. Here's another in Seton Hall's Kevin Willard. Well, we're now joined by the head coach of the Seton Hall Pirates, Kevin Willard. Coach, when you think about when you took over at the helm 2010-11 to where this program is now, how have you made the standard for this Seton Hall program to get back to NCAA tournaments year after year?
Well, I think the biggest thing, Johnny, was just kind of, staying the course. Really keeping our head down, grinding out every day, getting good kids who want to be part of something. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've realized is that, everyone that's come through our program has had a big impact on us no matter what. And, it eventually led to a class that stuck together, that's really done some great things and got this program in a great direction.
Last week, your big man, Angel Delgado, told me, we got to stretch a little bit more now. We got to run around a little bit more before practice to keep those legs fresh because your guys are old, but they got to stay fresh. What about this senior class? What characteristic comes to mind when you think of them?
Toughness. Every time I think about these 4 and really 5 guys, if you add Mike Nezzi in there, is how tough they've played and how tough they play night in, night out. Even in practice, everything is, physical. Everything is about toughness with them. And it's not like a macho thing, it's just the way they play. They play an old school type of city game. And I think that's what's led to a lot of success for them is that they play to who they are. When
you think about your time at Seton Hall, in the last 2 seasons, 46 wins. But up until that point, you
I only had about 12.
How did the script flip? Other than kids, was there something that you and your staff would try to stress to each other?
No, again, I think anytime you take over a program, and again, I took over this program, I think I was only 34 years old. You have visions of grandeur of what you're going to do, and then reality kind of hits you, and then you got to, I think the biggest thing that I always did was, I wasn't stubborn. I wasn't going to say, okay, well, this is the only way that we can do it here at Seton Hall. I really realized that, you constantly kind of have to stick with what your culture wants to be, what your vision wants to be, but you can't be stubborn and say, okay, I'm not going to shift strategies. And I think the biggest thing is that we constantly said, okay, we're going on a good path, but we have to shift this, we have to shift that, we have to shift the way we play, we have to shift where we recruit. And I think that was something that was vital to us getting our success.
The way you've played has given you that success. How much does the depth you add this year make a difference in what you can do?
Yeah, I think the freshman class has brought a lot of energy back to this older group. They've kind of pushed them a little bit. I think this older group really enjoys having, I think they remind them what they were like 4 years ago when they came in college, energetic, stupid cocky, thinking they have all the answers and realizing that they don't. But, they've given us Miles Kale, top 50 player, Sandro, top 100, Jordan Walker, top 100, guys who are extremely talented, guys who are going to push these old guys to get better. And I think the old guys are enjoying it and teaching the young guys to get better.
Angel Delgado says that you don't call fouls on him in practice, that when he goes up inside, you don't call fouls against him, rather. Sometimes he gets hacked, Coach.
No, again, I think the big guy thinks he gets fouled every time, and he speaks Spanish a lot when he thinks he gets fouled, and luckily none of us speak Spanish, so we just don't call anything.
Have you learned any Spanish?
Sí. ¿Cómo está, mi amigo?
Obviously,
you don't know any Spanish.
Not a word. I took French in high school. I wasn't a good language student, Coach.
Mi amo.
¿Cómo te llama?
There you go. All right, you're pretty good. You got one word down. I got a little stuff. I can hang a little bit. I can go in there and order a cerveza.
Yeah, Dos Equis.
That's about it.
Yeah. Right. Your point guard, Kadeem Carrington. People continue to ask, Coach, can he do it? But he has taken over in that role from time to time. How has he evolved in the offseason to be ready to be in the driver's seat?
Yeah, I mean, I have tremendous confidence in where Kadeem is as a player. And, he played almost 22 minutes a game last year at the point guard spot. So now it's just a matter of him starting in that spot instead of moving to that spot. He's worked hard, watched a lot of film. We've done a lot of live game situations during the summer, reads and reacting. He'll have some growth spurts at the amount of time he's going to play there. I think the biggest difference for us with him is now he's guarding the point guard position where he didn't guard it before.
Right. This conference as a whole, I looked at the preseason poll last week. in a conference where the Butler Bulldogs are picked to finish 8th. How much does that show the depth of the league?
Well, I think if you look at the votes that were tallied, you really had 1, 2, and 3, and then, in my opinion, I think 2 through 8, you could really you could close your eyes and put anybody anywhere. The league is so balanced; it's so well coached. We have a lot of great seniors. You look at Xavier's got Trayvon Blewett. Us, you look at Providence with Rodney Bullock, Kyron Cartwright. I think the league is just, again, you look at Creighton with Marcus Foster, Kyrie Thomas. I mean, you can. Every team is just, you have 3 or 4 guys. I love Marquette's youth and their depth. I think they're going to be challenging. I think St. John's is a team that could finish anywhere in the conference. I mean, I think their guard play with Lovett and Pons is phenomenal. So I don't think, obviously when the coaches go through it and you pick, and if you just look at how all the votes were so stacked, I just think it shows how great this conference is.
Well, great to talk to Kevin Willard and Chris Mack, and I loved Coach Willard stepping up at Media Day, and he wouldn't sit down next to Chris Mack, and he was asked why. Well, they kind of look a little bit alike. Maybe that's a Halloween crossover down the road. We'll see, just a suggestion. The World Series finishing up last night with the Houston Astros coming out on top in 7 games over the Los Angeles Dodgers. And it's a former Big East baseball great who was the World Series MVP, George Springer of the Astros. We TBT this week, as there it is last night with Kevin Burkhardt of Fox Sports, but the former UConn star. He was a Big East Rookie of the Year in 2009. And then in 2011, Player of the Year in the conference, George Springer. Congratulations to him, a former Big East baseball great, and now a World Series champion, World Series MVP. Very cool. We asked for your questions. You have delivered, as always. Keep on feeding them to us on Big East Facebook and at Big East on Twitter. Let's take a look at it here. Let's get right to it. I see favorite food spot on the road. I would have to go with 2. Number 1, in Cincinnati, the Montgomery Inn is right on the water. It's a great place to have dinner. I ran into John Gruden there last time I was there. I mean, come on. Combine Gruden, ribs, spider, 2Y banana, if that's what he says. That was a lot of fun. And then Wheatfields in Omaha. If you ever need breakfast, go ahead there into the downtown area. Really good breakfast spot. Highly suggest that. Let's continue moving on here with your questions. We've got... Mullen or Ewing. They're going to face each other in January, FS1 at the Garden, the first of 2 meetings, at least, this season. Well, in a one-on-one battle right now, I'd have to take Chris Mullen. I mean, he took Kevin Durant, and he was able to edge him out. I'd have to take Coach Mullen over Coach Ewing if they were to play here and now, just because Chris, he could step back. He still has that lefty shot, and he's got the game face. I'll go with Coach Mullen. Let's move on here. What's up next? A Gavitt Games Big 3? Did I hear that correctly? Here we go. Well, I'll tell you with what I see here with Ethan Happ and then Miles Bridges and Vincent Edwards, or Seton Hall's Angel Delgado, Xavier's Trayvon Blewett, and Villanova's Jalen Brunson. Here's why I take the Big East. Because Jalen Brunson, a true point guard, maybe the best point guard in the country, and that other team, Bridges, Happ, and Edwards, I don't know if I like them as much as I like the Big East threesome. I'll take the Big East trio because they got a true point guard, they have the nation's leading rebounder, and they have Trayvon Blewett who powered his team the Elite 8. Give me the Big East here. Gavitt Games start a week from Monday on FS1 with Minnesota Providence. That's a fantastic matchup. Final one. I think so. 3 All-Americans in Brunson, Blewett, and Delgado? Yes, count me in. Because I just brought it up here of why, and you know who else brought it up? ESPN's Jeff Borzello. He talked about the contenders in the league, and I asked him about the stars and experience in the conference and how that differentiates the Big East from others, how much that could pay off in March, and he even said beyond.
I think it's huge. I mean, I think it's going to help them early, too. You know, when these teams sort of start stacking up non-conference wins and really boost that resume that's going to come in handy on Selection Sunday, the fact that these teams, Xavier, Villanova, Seton Hall, Providence, a lot of these teams are Creighton, a lot of these teams bring back a lot of players from last year. So this is going to help them get wins early. And then come March, it's just going to help them. A lot of these teams have already played in the NCAA tournament before. They have experience. They have winning experience. And at the end of the day, that's what matters in March. It's guard play, it's experience, it's stars, and the Big East has it all.
The conference collectively last year was extremely deep. You said in your column that it might not be as deep and balanced. How much does that say about those teams at the top of the conference, or does it say that those teams in the middle may take a step back?
I think it's a little bit of both. I do think that Villanova, Xavier, Seton Hall, and Providence are probably their own tier at the top of the league. I think Villanova's the favorite. I think Xavier and Seton Hall are right behind them. And then Providence, if healthy, I think they could be in that group chasing Villanova also. And then after that, I do think those teams will take a step back. I think Butler takes a step back, Creighton, Marquette. St. John should take a step forward, but we've sort of said that for a few years now, that based on talent, they should be better than where they finished. But I think out of those 4 teams, I think at the end of the day, you're going to see 1 or 2 of them make the tournament. And it's just right now, going into the season, it's hard to project which 2 of those will be.
Jeff Borzello from ESPN.com, you said that 4 teams should make the NCAA tournament from the Big East, and then from there we shall see. Of St. John's, Creighton, Marquette, and Butler, who would you take?
I think I would take St. John's right now. I just think on paper, their talent is just really good. Shamori Pons, Marcus Levette, Bashir Ahmed, they all come back. And then, Justin Simon, Marvin Clark, 2 transfers coming in that sat out last season. Simon from Arizona, Marvin Clark from Michigan State. I think those 5 on paper give St. John's as much talent as anyone in the league. They have depth from last year. I just think, the question with them is when will it translate to wins over good teams? I just think we're waiting to see them bring some consistency to the table. I think Creighton, they might have the best scorer in the league in Marcus Foster. They might have the best defensive player in the league in Kyrie Thomas. So I think that will go a long way. And then Butler's Butler. I do think that they're going to take a step back. New coach, a lot of new players. But, they just always seem to find a way. So I think that right now I pick St. John's and then probably Creighton after that. But, I might be a little bit low on Butler going into the year, but they always seem to surprise.
Having said all this, you did say that the conference might be more interesting from a national perspective. Why?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're not going to get a lot of conferences that have 3 of maybe the 10 best players in the country. Jalen Brunson, Trevon Blewett, and Angel Delgado. They're pretty much on every All-American team out there. Second team, first team, whatever. And that just makes it very intriguing. You just have that star power. And that makes a difference. You're going to try to watch those guys every night, regardless of who their opponent is. And I just think that shines more of a spotlight on the Big East. And then, like I said, you look at those teams at the top, Villanova, Xavier, Seton Hall, a healthy Providence. And we're talking about 3 or 4 teams that could be playing the second weekend in the NCAA tournament. And that just, to me, that makes it very interesting. You kind of want to watch those matchups. Villanova versus Xavier, Seton Hall versus Xavier. Those are going to be games that all national people, all national college basketball fans want to see.
Jeff Borzello from ESPN.com. You can read him daily and follow him on Twitter as well. Jeff, looking forward to your coverage all season long. Thanks.
No problem. Thank you.
Great to have Jeff. Thanks so much for coming on the show, Jeff. And just a reminder, Big East Hoops fans, if you missed the Chris Mack or Kevin Willard interviews, as well as Jeff Borzello from ESPN, they are going to be on YouTube following the show. And the show is podcasted every single week on iTunes. Download and subscribe today. Leave a review, and maybe you'll be nice as we continue here on Big East Shootaround. And we do, with the season just 8 days away. I told you earlier about Butler's exhibition against Hanover. Yeah, that also got Tripp out and about to get his preseason routine done because he's got to be ready to go. If you don't know who Tripp is, that's Butler Blue 3, one of the best mascots in all of college sports. And last week at Hinkle, I got a treat. I got to rehearse his pregame routine with him. So Evan, Tripp is now 5 years old,
Yes,
going
he is.
on 6. He's hitting his prime. How much does he show that?
Well, I mean, he doesn't show that any better place than Hinkle Fieldhouse, which is just how we like it. So when he gets here, he just takes off like a golden retriever. He has the agility, he moves quickly, and he just doesn't stop.
What's Tripp's best night ever?
His best night ever,
Game.
his best game, there's a few. So when he threw up at Madison Square Garden, that was great. And then I think he's a little biased towards that Villanova win here on Hinkle. And then the fun part was, he was not in the arena, but we were in we were in Villanova territory when we took the sweep home. So those two are pretty sweet as well.
Now we're about to go through his pregame routine. What is
Correct.
it?
So pregame, we hit all the alumni, we hit people who are here for the game, we get pictures. But then when it's time, when the shoot-around's over, it's time to announce the teams. The other team has been announced. Tripp will run out from one side of the court. He'll run over to this side right here, and then he'll be with Michael at that point, and then I'll be on the opposite corner with his favorite rawhide bone. And so Tripp's only job is to run from this corner, not to trip any refs, not to trip any players, and hit that bone. He'll hit that bone, he walks around like a champ, and parades around.
So practice makes perfect.
Absolutely.
And with Butler in a couple preseason games and then the regular season getting going, it's time to get with it. Now, I'm taking on a new role here.
Yeah, you're gonna take my job. So you're gonna hold the bone, which is fine. Usually we used to let students do it, so it's totally fine. We've only lost like 3 fingers. And then I'm gonna take the role of he has all 10. I'm gonna take the role of taking Tripp from that corner, walking past Tyler Weidman, then once we hit it, we're gonna sprint down and hit that bone.
Here we go. Let's do it. Well, as you guys know, everybody's in preseason mode. This guy's in mid-season mode. It is Tripp. Butler Blue 3 is here at Hinkle Fieldhouse. He's ready for tip-off. And I'm here with live mascot programs, Evan. And Evan, he's just geared up.
He's ready to go.
A senior forward out of White Central High School, number 4, Tyler Weidman. Here comes Tripp. He's ready for the season. Oh man, there he is. He's ready for tip-off. Oh boy. Tripp is ready to go. This is what it's all about. Butler Blue 3, one of the best in the country.
If you could add any song to the Big East Spotify playlist, what would it be?
21 Savage Bank Account.
That was really quick.
Yeah, it's
That
my
was
favorite
just-
song right now. Yeah.
Is that on your warm-up playlist?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A Boogie, no comparison.
Can you sing a little?
Nah.
Is that on like your personal warm-up playlist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A Boogie's all over my playlist.
Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus.
That's a great one.
Yeah, that's my favorite song.
Can you sing it?
So I'll put my hands up, they're playing my song, they know I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a party in the USA.
I can't believe you got me to sing on that one. You can't not sing.
you can't not sing to it.
Might have to be that Bodak Yellow.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Can you sing a little for me?
See, it has a little too much,
Yeah, but like there's like 2 words you can say.
If you wanted to, these expensive, these is red bottoms, these is bloody shoes.
I knew you would sing.
Electric Relaxation. It's like a 90s hip hop song. It's one
Yeah?
of my favorite songs.
Is that like the theme of your warm-up playlist?
Definitely.
90s hip hop?
Definitely 90s
What else?
hip hop.
What else is on that playlist?
Lots of J. Cole.
Okay.
Lots of Drake. Be from Toronto. Gotta put on for my mans.
I'm a big Post Malone guy.
Okay.
I'm a big Post Malone guy, so I would kind of have to. I like Candy Paint.
Mm-hmm.
That's the song I've been listening to a lot recently. So I would say that's one song that I got to put in there.
I'll probably have to have Adele, Someone
Adele?
Like You.
Wow.
Yeah, I like Adele.
For your warm-up song.
Yeah, I mean, got to be calm,
Yeah.
relax.
That is a
kinda-
first.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can you
That's
sing
my-
a little Adele?
It's kind of, my favorite part is probably like the chorus.
Yeah.
Never mind, I'll find someone like you. And that's,
That was
that's
beautiful.
yeah, I need
That was
some
really
more.
good.
That was incredible. Kyrie, Adele. I mean, are you kidding me? That was insane. Wow. I'd have to go with Running Down a Dream by Tom Petty. By Tom Petty. It was a Skittle that got stuck there from Halloween. My goodness. But Kyrie, Adele, Thomas, you can get the Big East Spotify playlist. That's right. Go to @BigEastMBB on Twitter. All the information is there. @BigEastMBB on Twitter. And if you're on Spotify, you can find all that there. Listen to what Big East Hoop Stars have on before a game. I cannot believe that Adele is playing for Kyrie Thomas, but it in fact is. That was a lot of fun there. That's our Thursday pickup every single Thursday. And I'll tell you what, folks, I cannot believe it. Next week, the season begins. Let that sink in for a minute. Next week, the season begins. We began this journey back in August on Shootaround, and now during the season, we'll have highlights. We'll have the best players in the conference on this show. We'll get coaches sound, all kinds of things. We're going to involve you fans. I cannot wait to get going. And you know that in Big East basketball, the first week of the season is unlike any other across the conferences because the Gavitt tip-off games really get it into full swing. So from the debuts of LaVall Jordan and Patrick Ewing next weekend to seeing those seniors back in action, it's a loaded conference of them. And then, starting that Monday, the Gavitt games get revved up. We'll have all that and more next week. Go to BigEast.com as well. Season previews are there. We're back with you next week on Big East Facebook, at Big East on Twitter, and Fox Sports Go for our great crew. I'm John Fanta. The season tips off in 8 days. Get excited. Bring your kicks next week because it's time for tip-off.